Hello there, here we are in round 1 playing Rakdos control with the emphasis on the black cards. We are against unknown opponent on the draw and obviously going to keep this one since it has some lands and spells. This is part of the problem with being a 2-color deck in Pauper, since you sort of have to come into play tap lands or into the battlefield tap lands. So we're going to be a bit slow to get started, so if the opponent has like a sick draw, we might just get, tempoed out because we're getting dazed and counterspelled and that sort of thing. Preordain. It's not a bad one. I think you'll find my opponent's downwards always flip, so this may as well just be a 1-mana 3/2 flying. But yes, looking at my hand just now, you just basically think I was like a normal mono black deck. And we don't have the, strong 1-mana removal spells that, was part of the reasons to play this deck. If we hit our third land though, I'm thinking we're probably gonna do well. So that was actually silly. I probably shouldn't have cracked this because it will alter their choices on Ponder, possibly. Like they could have thought we were on like Drake or something. But I suppose seeing Terramorphic Expanse plus Swamp probably makes them think we're on like a blue-black deck. Okay, so since they're mono blue, they're probably gonna have spell stutters in their deck, and I'd rather play out my 1-mana cards while I can. I'm gonna play Duress and Bolt. The order depends on which one I want to get dazed or has the potential to get dazed. I think I want to resolve Lightning Bolt more than I want to resolve Duress. Like they can, once this is off the table, I have a lot more breathing room, and if they want to daze Duress, then that's fine. Some nice ones there. So definitely not taking Piracy Charm. Preordain is on the table, since like they can't counter all these things anyway. But if I take Counterspell, then they're sort of kind of forced into action because Spell Stutter Sprite doesn't counter like most of my deck. But Preordain was tempting just because it'll, make it less likely that they're going to draw into action, like relevant action. Whereas for me, I just need to draw land, and then we're sorted and ready to go. It's definitely always the case whenever I play the mono black decks that you really want to draw like your first 4 lands, and then you basically never want to draw any more. But it's certainly possible that there should be some number of Night's Whisper in this deck. I think it would probably be a strong supplement to Read the Bones. Like Read the Bones is definitely way better when you draw it later on, since it's more likely to get you multiple good spells. Filtering out lands that you don't need is great. But being able to hit your third land drop is super important. On the plus side, my opponent probably assumes I have 10 million removal spells in my hand. Alright. Well, there's a mountain, which isn't exactly what we wanted. So we have options as to whether we're going to cast Rager or Chainer's Edict. Rager might help us hit another land, letting us start to cast 2 cards a turn. Whereas Edict will either resolve or hit the Spell Stutter Sprite in their hand. I kind of feel like I want to play Rager because if I like draw into like a bolt, then I can use the bolt on spell stutter possibly. Like if they play out the spell stutter sprite, I can firebolt either the sprite or a ninja that's about to emerge out of it, and then use the edict on Spire Golem more effectively. Okay, so they didn't make a ninja there, which is kind of interesting. If you have another spell starter sprite, it's kind of annoying. I think I'm gonna start by casting Firebolt and seeing what's up. We've got like so many more cards than our opponent. Like some of them can get counterspelled, and like we need to just work through these cards anyway, because we're not gonna get anywhere by just casting like 3 mana turtle things. And the more cards we have in our graveyard, the sooner we can get to Gurmag Angler. I say that's not like a great use of an edict, but we have more removal spells. They only have 2 cards in our hand. We're stumbling around a bit. I guess like killing this is obviously like a top priority, but it's not even that fast a clock. Well, I mean that's okay, but I think I need to try cast Read the Bones. Our hand is so clunky. We need to dig for more relevant things. So if I take both these lands, we would be able to cast like Rats plus Edict or Addle plus Rats or something. We need lands, but we also sort of need some bolts. So we need to keep at least one of them. Is this the question is whether we're keeping both? I think we should probably just keep both. I think it'd be quite greedy to ship one, considering how expensive and clunky our hand is. But we are on a fairly short clock. Like we're being smashed for 3 a turn. I could cast Angler, exiling my entire graveyard, but it's not going to defend us or kill my opponent in time, so I'm just going to leave the fuel there because it includes a Firebolt, which I may well need to in this game. Could really do with drawing Terminate. I think that would be ideal. Barring that, I guess just more edicts maybe? Like just more cheap spells. I think we would have been in good shape if we'd hit a 3rd land a bit earlier, since, you know, we can just start throwing these cards out and we would have had some pressure in play while trying to mess with their stuff. But just trying to mess with their stuff with no pressure gave them enough time to, you know, play this with protection, which needs quite a lot of mana, or at least quite a lot of lands in play. Alright, so let's see, I think starting with Duress is a good shout, because we can still play Addle and Chainer's Edict if those cards are relevant. A counterspell, a Deprive, a Piracy Charm, and a Snag. Well, the Piracy Charm, well, we knew about the Piracy Charm, but the +2 ability on Piracy Charm is going to get us. Between Piracy Charm and Vapor Snag, like if we just take the counter spells, they can like pump Spire Golem and then Vapor Snag our Rager, then we die. So I think do we have to take Piracy Charm? I think maybe taking Vapor Snag is better, because they have like 2 counter spells, so we can't I guess we could try to take both of them, but we actually sort of need to take this or this so we don't just die. All right, that's not really happened before, but okay. Also, like if the opponent just puts us to one, uh, then we can't cast Rager and that sort of thing either. So yeah. So I mean, we still need to actually kill the Spire Golem. So now that shock to the face, aka Piracy Charm, is off the table, we can take some removal spells, counter spells. The Vapor Snag also counts as like a removal counter spell for Changer's Edict, if they feel like it. Since even if I clear this off the table, they can save their Spire Golem the turn after. Yeah. So our hand is, Island Vapor Snag. But now it could be anything. Yeah, like this is the part of the deck which isn't so great against like mono blue. Just having some expensive card is quite awkward. Oh no, we're dead. Alright then. So things that come in are Pyroblast, of course. And I guess we need some Electrickeries. So we're just like filling your deck full of removal spells. Because like their deck is okay at drawing some cards. Like it has like a couple of gush and it can filter pretty well. But if you just could kill all of their creatures, it's pretty hard for them to win. Like Rager is not that great. And like all these are pretty good. So Duress is sort of weird in that it's not that good against like Spellstutter Sprite. But we should be able to, clear the path with our one mana removal spells. I think like Chainer's Edict's slightly on the slow side, but on the other hand, it like can defeat Spire Golems. I think we can trim down on some of these spells. Like we still actually need to kill our opponents. We can't take out like all of our like clunky things. Okay. I think it's sort of hard to mulligan this because we should be able to like clear out their early drops and hopefully draw a black mana. And we only need one. Like if they have a slow hand, then this hand could get quite embarrassing if we just land go, and then start moving to our discard step. I'm not gonna kill this immediately because I'd actually rather like Chainer's Edict it or something. Okay. So I could certainly just like immediately fire off a removal spell on it. I find it unlikely that I'll get a 2-for-1 with Electricity on like Fairy Miscreant or whatever, but you never know. And if they try to Ninja, then I have a Lightning Bolt. So I'm able to take 1 damage for a little while. Okay. Hand still looking kind of scary. It could go badly. I will definitely try to Electricity them if they play another Miscreant. Or if they like instep, you know, try and make a spell starter sprite or something just to power it up. Power up further spell starter sprites. But this is not a great scenario. We want to either draw black swamps. Swamps is basically perfect. So now we're sort of in business. I'm gonna lead with Idle, I think. Because what I want to happen is for them to spell stutter sprite. So if I Addle and then they spell stutter sprite, then I want to respond with Electricity, but then I get blown out by Daze. So I'm gonna lead with Duress. It's unlikely to miss. Okay, so there's the reason. If they have a Daze, then I can pay for it. If they have multiple Dazes, then I guess that's not the end of the world. They didn't have a Daze. They have a Stormbound Geist, Ninja, Spire Golem. And with 3 lands in play, I guess I should just take this counterspell. Says if they draw another land, they can play like Spire Golem plus counterspell up. Stormbound Geists, you know, fairly annoying. Perhaps I should have let them keep counterspell because I would rather them play counterspell plus Spire Golem back up, because then I can like try to addle the Stormbound Geists out of their hand. Well, that would have been much better last turn. Looks like they're going to get 2-for-1 out of me. I think idling them seems like a good shout. I think just taking Ninja is safest here. Like, I can leave them with the filtering cards, and that's not a big deal. I'm just going to clear out the Geist before anything bad can happen. So they'll still have Spire Golem, but I have Chainer's Edict and an Angler. So I really want to draw Read the Bones. Right, Read the Bones would set me up pretty well, I think. Chittering Rats is not perfect. I'm going to play Angler with just in case they drew a daze. Like, if they didn't draw a daze, like, no harm done. But if they did, it would have been very embarrassing to get my Government Gangler dazed. But yeah, we're in another spot where we just really, really want to draw like a card drawing spell. That's not the worst. No, at least I can play Chittering Rats in the future. This Radiant Fountain, though, pretty awkward. Considering I have like 1 red spells and like double black spells that I maybe want to play. Like it's not too expensive, like the Miser copy, in terms of getting like mana screwed. Like, we're never going to draw hands with multiples of them, but it's pretty embarrassing when we can't cast our, when we do draw it and we're sort of light on lands. At least it's not as awkward as in the blue-black control decks when you have hands with multiple fountains and counter spells and that sort of thing. I think I'd rather play this first. It gives me the chance to draw like another black spell next turn and then play like Edict plus something. I mean, obviously I'm playing this Carnarium, but what if I draw another Chittering Rats? Or another double black card? This way I can definitely play 2 spells next turn. Assuming I draw a spell. So I hope they didn't draw Ninja. I'm probably dead. Oh, Stormbound Geist, that's the worst possible. And that is also the worst possible. So they have 3 islands in their hand, which isn't too bad for me, but the creatures they have in play are like the best creatures they have. So it's going to be difficult to work through them all. I mean, I have Chainer's Edict in my graveyard, so I have 1 removal spell. But if they just draw some like running counter spells, then we're getting clocked super fast. I kind of wish that we had some Liliana Spectres, because they are pretty good to like trade with the front half of Stormbound Geist. It lets you, you know, start trading with their creatures without losing too much card advantage. Yep, their deck is very, you know, sleek and efficient if they, once they have like this amount of lands in play, like assuming they draw some amount of cantrips, they're likely to draw into good spells. So we really really needed to draw some Read the Bones. So we have enough mana to Addle and Firebolt plus Flashback, so we're gonna go ahead and do that. We need to Addle to make sure that nothing bad happens to our Firebolt plan. Okay. The next question is, what are we killing? Spire Golem or Geist? This is a faster clock, but more vulnerable to bolts, whereas this has like dies to Firebolt, but like kills me slower. I'm honest. I'm thinking I have to kill the Spire Golem because of the presence of like Fire Blast, Pyroblast. I can like kill Stormbound Geist with more things. Did I just miscount horribly? I did, didn't I? Oh my god. What happened there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. What? One. Oh, of course. I just completely punted that. I was thinking that this was 5 to play in flashback. That was an atrocious punt. Absolutely unreasonably bad. And now we're dead. So yeah, so we would have went to 5 that turn. We'd have killed the Spire Golem, drawn Bloodfell Caves, and then died. We would have died anyway, but good lord. Somebody has not had enough coffee this morning.